when I heard about this conference, I was like really excited to come here. And when we discussed that I'm going to have a keynote, I was so happy to do that. But when I saw the agenda and that I'm just after lunch, I was like, oh, that's going to be a tough one. But I will try to make it as interesting as possible for you. So I'm going to talk for those 30 minutes about how to shape your organization in order to create value out of innovation, how to use the potential within your organization, no matter the business area, no matter the size of the organization. When it comes to company that I'm representing, Veolia is a global leader when it comes to ecological transformation, and we are present all around the world. But when it comes to Poland, we are operating within those 3 sectors, energy, water, and waste, and we are present in 70 cities in Poland. So you might have heard about us. When it comes to my team and innovation that we run in Poland, we are covering all those aspects that you can see here. Open innovation and pilot implementation, development programs and training related to innovation, innovation supportive mechanisms, toolful knowledge sharing and competences, and ecosystem engagement. But why I'm here? I'm going to tell you about innovation. Do you know what it is? Those are termites, and exactly termite mounds, that are really creatures that you might have heard about them in elementary school. But we didn't hear that they're really innovative. They, out of the material that they have, they're building those mounts up to 10 meters high, and they use the material to make as effective and highly efficient energy, I would say energy efficient houses, tiny houses for them. And they're really related to energy efficiency, to ventilation and everything. But why I'm telling you about this? We are in Europe, we have different solutions that are really effective, already happening. But when it comes to, if you think about the different regions which do not have the direct access to media, to water, in these sectors, it will be highly useful. And this is what happened in Zimbabwe. That Mick Pierce actually used the structure, used what they are doing inside, how they are building those mounts, and put it into practice into the shopping center that you can see here. And this is real applied innovation and lateral thinking that we extremely need to our organization in order to create new products and services, to have engaged and conscious employees and teams, and also to have a higher and higher operational excellence that we need currently, especially extremely most. And I'm going to tell you about 5 aspects which we are using when it comes to Veolia in order to make it happen, to use this potential within the organization. First one is to boost the creativity. It is not going to happen that the person that is working in the organization for 20 years is going to come one day and today I'm going to be really creative and I'm going to build some product that is going to be competitive on the market. That's why we need to boost the creativity, especially when it comes to the scores, when it comes to data, that within the age, our creativity drops, unfortunately. And it is due to different reasons, especially when it comes to judgment, opinion of others, and fear that we are going to be perceived not as a professional, etc., etc. So it is extremely important to use different tools for that. And when I manage the MBA classes for executives and for different workshops, I'm using this. If I ask you, draw a horse that flies, what would you say? Pegasus, thank you. But why is it harmful? Why is it harmful to think about Pegasus? It is the same situation as with products and our employees. They are going to think about something that already exists on the market. They are not going to be really creative if you are not going to help them out with different tools, different methodologies, or different programs inside the organization. Because you want them to think about it in a different way, to think about the horse. This is the same sentence, draw a horse that flies. And it is extremely important to put them into different shoes, to make them work together, to make them more creative as much as possible. And in Veolia, we know about it. and we put our employees in different setups, and we work on different projects. This one I really like when it comes to the team in Bordeaux in France. They actually created some paving blocks that are made of scallop shells that are installed in the pavements, and they save they allow us to lower the temperature of the ground by 10 to 15%, and the air temperature from 5 to 8. So as you could see, the biomimicry, so the inspiration of nature, it is really something that is worth consideration. The second aspect is the cooperation between people. You have in a corporation different blocks, different departments, but it is extremely important to use this potential to put people at the same table. Because you have an architect that knows something about many things, and you have an expert or an engineer that knows everything about this one little thing. But you need extremely to put them at the same table, because they are going to ask different questions, they are going to raise different topics that were not raised, and they will not going to fear about asking the question that is totally obvious. So it is very important to have those interdisciplinarity when it comes to teams. And again, Veolia case, we had a challenge when it comes to energy efficiency. In Wielka Płyta, you might know those places if you're from Poland. And those are housing blocks that we need to put a lot of effort to make the energy efficient, to make the energy more efficient. And even though we have a lot of products or a lot of services in Veolia, we still wanted to do more about the topic. So we organized the competition for our employees. There were 50 people who took part in it, and we invited also housing cooperatives, and we invited also different corporations. So it was not only the topic covered by the energy sector within the energy, but we invited the financial guys, the IT, IoT, ICT, different organizations who also have the interest, who also work on the energy efficiency from different points of view. And it was extremely important to have this exchange of thoughts. And out of it, they created 10 proof of concepts on real data. And now we have 4 pilot implementation in Poznań and Łódź. So whenever I'm going to Poznań and Łódź, I'm trying to visit as much as possible. Now we have different options, of course, for different organizations and our customers to show them how does it work. And those are the first implementation when it comes to green heat. So for our business area, it is extremely interesting. The second case that we have, once we noticed that we really need to work on competences related to project management, but within innovation. That is totally different than the normal one. To think about how to make things faster, how to work on different data, how to stop the project if it is not performing in a good way. And we organized Veolia Innovation Manager Academy first edition, and we had 36 engaged employees that were independent to work on different topics. We had 8 real challenges that were selected by our management board, so the priorities. And then out of it, we have different operational aspects, but also 2 products that were commercialized. The third aspect that I'm going to talk about, and that we put a lot of attention to, is to test, to experiment, to verify whether the topics, the products or services are useful, are working really well in real conditions. And the aim of that is to think about work in a different way. Not to focus on the aspect that collecting as much data as possible and making decisions out of this huge pile of data that you could have, but to know how to work in non-ideal conditions, to not a full set of data that you have, to see the bigger picture, to widen it up, to have a different perspective than normally naturally we have if we are sitting in one domain for quite a while. And to open it up, we are also inspired by different companies, different approaches to that. And one of the one that I really like is connected to being inspired by different organizations doing solutions, making solutions out of different areas. There was once a company that had a problem when it comes to breakage of a tire, and they thought about how to make this travel for the passenger or the driver secure and safe. And they were thinking about different materials to be used, etc., etc. But actually, they put the problem to the function. How to suppress the leakage, whether it is the air, whether it is the leakage, etc., etc. And they got inspired by medicine. The vein stains that whenever there is breakage, there are walls that are suppressing it. And this is how the run flat was created. So being inspired by different solutions out of different organizations is extremely important. Once we had information from our acceleration partner, and by mistake they sent us the list of solutions for forestry, for agriculture. And we said, like, wait a second, there is a solution related to satellite detection of verifying what are the minerals when it comes to water on the land. And we were thinking, like, okay, what if we verify through this technology the pipes that we have in water and the heating system? And this is how we implemented the solution in Tarnowskie Góry and also in Warsaw to verify two different types of networks. And we know that within a water industry, it works. And also, there are also different countries in Veolia that are using it right now as well, because it turns out that actually there are some solutions that serve to this purpose. But we wanted to do the pilot when it comes to the heat network. And we got the information that it is not applicable to this part. So for us, it was also important to do the pilot, to verify, to have this information for our company. Different topics that we are testing and validating, those are vibrating vests, inspection robots, and machine learning in different sorts of solutions. And those are the subjects that are really initiated and run by people from Veolia. Because if you're organizing the ground for them to make it happen, it will be very useful. The fourth aspect is to equipping people with tools, because there are different solutions for different methodologies, different tools for problem solving. There are design thinking, design sprint, Scamper, etc. But the key is on how we are using them, and for which purpose, for which subject, for which product. And for this purpose, I've selected the KitKat, so everybody knows, more or less, everybody knows the product. But Scamper, one of the methodologies that I showed you before, or the techniques that I showed you before, is an acronym for substitute, combine, adapt, multiply, magnify, put to other use, eliminate, rearrange. We are using this technique also within our companies, within energy, water, waste. You can use it to your own companies, but especially by actually managing this in a good way. So this technique serves you for asking different questions on how the product or service is going to look like if I cut something out. How it is going to look like if I'm going to add something upon it to this particular aspect. But there are different techniques, and I highly advise you to use this within your business. And talking about methodologies, tools, it is extremely important to have a process of innovation management that is suitable for your organization. Because it is not always the case that it is never the case, sorry, that the stage gate that you know from the book is applicable to your organization. You have to adopt it to what you have, what decision-making processes are, how to make it as fast as possible, because yes, innovation needs fast track. But working in a corporation, we know that it is not always very fast as we would want it. But if you are going to set it up in a way that organization is going to have it structured, it may help you to organize. That's why we, in Veolia, we have the tailor-made process that you can see here, together with our support in different organizations, different departments, but it is divided into incubation, development, and implementation. So the incubation is a stage where we would like the employees or the teams to come to us I have an idea, this and that, and I do not have to fulfill all the data, all the Excel sheets, etc., but I'm just submitting the information and then following it with a team of innovators within our organization to make it happen. Everything is within the portfolio, and you can see the different leaders for different parts of it. But it is extremely important to make it adopted to the organization. The fifth aspect that I would add here is the trusted partners. So in the time we live in, it is not going to happen that we are going to do different projects on our own only with everything what we would like to do. But we need different companies, different startups, but also different corporations, different SMEs to work together to handle the topic, the subject, or the area that we are interested in, and not only doing it by ourselves. That's why we are taking part in different acceleration programs that you could see here. Different partners. I know that Huge Thing and Start Smart that is organizing the conference are here, so thank you guys one more time for this cooperation. And I highly advise you to choose the partners that would know your organization, that would actually be your partner within every step that you're taking and not only submitting you the administrative part. We cooperate with different organizations together with our academia, with the Porozumienie Spółek Celowych or different universities that we have here, and it is extremely important for us to make it happen. If you have any topic, if you have any idea that you could work with us on energy, water, and waste, I will highly advise you to scan the code and to submit your idea. We are going to contact you and keep contact with you to make it happen if the solution is applicable. And I would say that everything what I said when it comes to those 5 aspects boils down to the foundation, something that is crucial to make it happen. Because you can have different programs, different topics, but if you're not going to focus on the human capital within the organization, it is not going to happen. You are not going to have people to run those programs, to run those projects. So extremely important aspect for us, and I know everybody says that. What if we invest and they leave? What if we don't invest and they say? Of course, it is up to us how we are going to handle that. But if you're going to organize yourself when it comes to the innovation team or development team or however you have it set it up in the organization, you need a well-defined challenge or need. Every aspect that we are running in innovation is focused on this topic. Nothing is theoretical only. Every program that I'm going to show you a bit is set up on the real challenge that we are facing and on the possibility to implement and commercialize different subjects that we are here. Proper target on addressing it to different groups, picking people from the organization or the outside of the organization to be there with us, to work on the topic, to give their perspective to the field. And tailor-made programs that I'm going to show you what kind of aspects we are covering when it comes to Veolia. So Veolia's case, the second edition of Power of Small Changes. It is one of the topics that was really initiated by people within the organization. We have a crowdsourcing platform, and people are submitting their different ideas, from really small one to some improvements, etc. And we opened up the program to people to apply with solutions that will change their perspective, change their life within the organization to some extent. And they submit the idea, and after that we are selecting a couple of them, give them some grants to make it happen. So entrepreneurial mindset is already set inside, and then we are making it happen within the program. So people are supported by the whole team of local innovation managers, who are just extreme power to make this happen within the organization. And they submit the ideas. This is from the second edition, like 36 tested and implemented projects. And you can see here like a green calculator for non-commercial teams to be with contact with the customers, simulation games, like Kocioł nas nie słucha, so this is totally designed by the operations team. A remote expert that is equipment for communication, or different applications for construction services within our waste sector. So as you can see, there are different solutions that they are submitting, and we, together with them, are making it happen during the program. And when it comes to Power of Small Changes, so here are some data when it comes to that. So first edition was 202 ideas, and then 100 employees engaged. And after 2 years, and we are organizing the innovation with for 60 years right now, there are so many people being engaged that different corporations, like different organizations, are asking us, like, how do you make it happen? So we put a lot of attention into something very practical to make actually them involved, to put it into practice, and to see the tangible effect. The second part, already mentioned the first Veolia Innovation Manager Academy, but now we are in a different setup. We are focusing on 7 products with 7 partners. There are companies like Skańska, like Instytut Centrum Zdrowia Matki Polki, so the hospital, different housing cooperatives, who are participating with us with this development program for people. There are 49 engaged employees who are within the program working on industrial product ownership. So it was extremely important for us to make it very pragmatical, but they have a couple of aspects to cover. First is to run the pilot implementation within the infrastructure of our customer. Then to learn how to manage the product, within the organization, which is not always an easy one. And to build their competencies within it and to make as much out of the program as possible. And everything was designed especially for what we have in our organization. There are different departments involved, especially the commercial team that is taking part in every meeting to make it happen. And to make it as practical as possible, we are always running the innovation leadership circle to have a kind of a self-assessment part, to make our employees be aware that within product ownership, you need this kind of skills. This is our actually from the first edition, so this is a different setup. But we are establishing the competencies that you need to make it happen, that you're going to need it in the future to run the product ownership. This one is for innovation project management. And as you can see, they assess it on the start level and on the when they end the program. And this serves us to be aware of what we are doing and to have this possibility to develop our skills that we really want to make happen in our organization, but also for ourselves. And everything comes down to this leadership, to this recipe, I would say. But I would add to this one thing that I mentioned, and yes, this is the time for pictures. And first one is to boost the creativity. You have to put this effort to your employees, create interdisciplinary team, equipping with appropriate tools, allow for testing and thinking differently, and to have different partners that would be trusted enough to make everything what you work on happen. And it wouldn't have happened if not the people that are within the organization. And I would like to leave you with one thought about the company that actually wanted to beat the market of this huge company like Coca-Cola. And normally, companies would think that I'm going to build something that is cheaper, that is bigger, and that has a better taste. But I really wish you to have this kind of organization where you would have this courage to think as the company that I'm going to tell you about, that thought about the different products in a way that they're going to create something smaller, something more expensive, and with worse taste. And this is how actually Red Bull was created. I can give you the reference to the book, how they explain everything what happened there. So I really encourage you and your organization to make it happen, to allow people to test, to do those things, because there is the potential that you have within your organization, but you just really need to make it tailor-made and make it happen. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, but I highly advise you to develop solutions together, to come to us, to work with us. But those aspects that I covered here wouldn't have happened if not the structure within the organization that I have the pleasure to run for those 6 years. And I'm really happy and proud to have this possibility to work with my team, because this is the huge amount of work of local innovation managers who are running it day by day. We've started with 10% of their engagement in some role. Now they're 100% involved into innovation. So it is possible to make it happen with different types of organization, and it is only up to you how you are going to organize it. Thank you.